Hey Stampers, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this really simple card. Now, you do have to have a little creative license because we all know that lobsters aren't red until they're steamed. So you could certainly switch this around. I got this idea from a person that I cannot remember her name at the moment, but I will give credit in the video below. She actually did 3 different cards using just the 3 ink colors. So this would be with cherry cobbler for your lobster. But if you wanted your lobster to be a little more red, this would be with real red. So essentially what she did is she chose 3 colors: Misty Moonlight, Old Olive, and then Cherry Cobbler were real red. And she made different cards. So you could also have it with a blue background. You could have it with a red background and just change around the sentiments. She did one with crabs. I think it was just the crabs and the lobster. I don't know if she did a third thing or not, but I'll like I said, I'll link her name so you can go check it out. But you could also do the crab on the front if you wanted to instead, and then you could use either the red background, I would say, or the red background. That way you'd have the blue, but you could do any of them. But it was a great way to make a lot of cards with just very minimal supplies. So it's just 3 inks. For each one you use cherry cobbler, for each one you use black and white, and then you just interchange the 3 inks for it. So I'm going to show you how we did this today. It's really quite easy. The hardest part is probably just deciding which one you want to choose. So since we already have one here, we're going to just stick again with the lobster. And what I did is I actually stamped the outline of the lobster first and then went back and stamped the body. Just because I sometimes feel like it's a little bit easier to line things up that way. I mean, it just depends on you personally, but that's my way to do it. Grab a pad. Now, I do have this pad underneath here, but you do want to make sure that you're stamping on a pad when you stamp with photopolymer because they don't have any cushion. So kind of what it is just line the lobster up. Again, that is the exoskeleton part, we'll say, of the lobster. And we're going to go with, actually, how about this time? We'll do a blue. Do we have blue, green? Yeah, we'll do a blue. That way this lobster is maybe still swimming, trying to escape. And then on the inside, I'll do a red crab. And again, crabs are not red until they're steamed. Same with lobster. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this guy up. And I'm going to ink it up. So I want full strength ink for the outline. A friend of mine, if you wanted to, she had a suggestion. You could ink this up with You're My Lobster. Apparently that's a Friends thing. I was not a Friends watcher myself. I watched Seinfeld, but not Friends. But you could always print out your own sentiment. What I usually do is I will print a sheet of things that I want because I do want to use a whole page of 8.5 by 11, but you don't want to use thick cardstock. So 8.5 by 11, if you still have Whisper White, that goes through amazingly. If not, 8.5 by 11 basic white. Okay, so there you have your outline. So I just want to clean this off really quickly because I'm going to use the same block. You do need a larger block for this one, just as an FYI, because this lobster is a pretty good size. Okay, so back to what we were saying. You can print a bunch of these and then print it on black, or if you want, you could get fancy and go and do the hex codes. But what you're going to do is you're going to just print them out, and then I just either hand cut them or cut them out. But it's a great way if you have maybe a sentiment. I know there's many times when I said that I wish we had a sentiment and we don't have it. So you could make your own and then just do it that way. Now I did ink this up full strength ink. I'm going to close this just for a second. We will need some bubbles, and then what I'm going to do first is I'm going to stamp this onto a scrap, lift, and then I am doing my best because the camera is right over where I would need to see. And then we're going to just try our best to line that up. Looks pretty good. And stamp that over because otherwise it would be so dark you really can't see. And there we have our lobster outline. Now I know lobster also do have a little bit of red kind of in there in various spots, but just for the sake of making a fun card, you probably could also do a combination more so of green and blue because crabs are also kind of more like a green and blue. They have a little bit of a mix up there. And then before I move on, you can also do the little I guess these are like seaweed, but I'm going to do the reef just for something different. And I'm still going to go with the Hello Friend, and I'm going to bring out both sets of bubbles. So let me grab this. And then what I did is I'm just going to add this in different instances of ink strength. So I will do some full strength, some stamped off. So since that one's done, we can just add in a little piece maybe down here at the bottom. And I want to stamp this and stamp off because otherwise that would kind of be like a half way. That's probably pretty good. Okay, and then I'm going to do my bubbles. Now the bubbles are going to be in blue. Now we won't have anything red for this card except for the inside. So honestly, it's no big deal. It's just if you wanted to change up the red, but since we were just kind of going with it, this would probably be a great one to have the red background on, just because there's not any red here. And I'm going to go into the other side. I'm just adding that other 2 bubble there just to change it up a little bit. And 1 there. That's good. Now, I did forget my hello friend, but since it's going to be in black, it's okay. And I am going to also do the crab for the inside, but just give me 1 second. I want to do this sentiment first, and then we'll do the inside. And I'm just going to kind of line this up as straight as you can. I want to make sure that this is really well inked. There we go. And I kind of put it in a space where there's a little gap. So with photopolymer stamping, you do want to make sure that you always give it a moment for the ink to come from the stamp onto the paper. Photopolymer is different that way. Oh, looks awesome. And I know the F and the friend got a little lost in there, but that's okay. Just wipe these stamps off, and then we'll grab our crab. So the crab is going to go onto the inside. So I'm going to put this over here. Now what I ended up doing was I put the crab at the bottom. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'll just use the same greenery with the red crab. But we'll do the crab first. Okay, and again, I am going to do the skeleton, if you will, first. So the exoskeleton. Oh, we don't need this black any longer. It'll dry out. And I'm just going to kind of do him kind of creeping in from the side. Just like that. Cool. And do the inside. You could also even do this a little bit more of like an orangey, because crabs are kind of like they're almost like an orangish with a little bit of red, but just for the sake of staying, like I said, with the 3 colors, we're going to just stick with the red. So I'm going to stamp this off again as well. And then just doing my best to line this up. Just like so. Cool. And then I'm going to bring my green back in one more time. So I can do a little... what this is. This reminds me very much so of a lot of stuff that we do have in Maryland. This, I don't even know. I guess it's like bay grass, seagrass. Who knows what it is. Now, I did get a little bit of, you can see the line there, but since we're kind of in an underwater thing, I'm really not going to worry about it so much. But I do want to do one and kind of try to stamp. Almost like, oh, that kind of worked out well, like it's behind him. And then I should have done this one more thing. You do have to give the crab some bubbles, because otherwise they're not breathing, and nobody wants to eat a dead crab because they are stinky and they don't taste good and they're not good for you. So I'm going to just add a couple little bubbles. And instead of changing, we'll just turn that. That looks good. All right. So, and I do want to give you all of the measurements for this. So give me one quick second. So what we have for this is a base of crumb cake. So this is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then you're going to have a piece of old olive. Now this one, normally you would have just your 1 layer down, so you would go to 4. by 5 1/4, but this one actually is 3 3/4 by 5. So it's a little bit smaller, and I believe the black is 3 by 4. Black is 3 by 4, which would make this 2 and, oh, it's very tight, 2 7/8 by 3 7/8. Then we have our inside panel, which is 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to just slide these over. Hopefully I won't lose anything here. I did also go in with a little bit of Wink of Stella, just to kind of give a little bit of a shimmer. And I think if you were doing this would be super cool to do it on the red, because it really would make it pop. And if you were going with this, honestly, I think I would also be so advantageous as to make your lobster kind of like a cross between maybe Pretty Peacock and Lost Lagoon. I feel like that would be pretty good coloration for it, because they're kind of like a greenish blue until they're cooked. Anyway, so I'm going to layer this on here. Again, this is just 1/8 of an inch smaller, so it is a little bit of a tight fit, but it's really cute. Try your best to line this up, because it's not 100% 1/4 inch in, so sometimes it can be a little bit, just a little bit off. That looks good. You could even pop this up on a dimensional if you wanted to, but just for the sake of keeping everything kind of simple, just use liquid glue. You could add a little bit of twine if you wanted to, baker's twine. This I did forget to fold. And then we'll put this on the inside. This also has a full set of dies that coordinate, but this is basically just it in a nutshell without a lot of extra. So if you have 3 ink colors, you could do this with lots of different stamp sets, lots of different cards. So you could really bang out a bunch of cards. If you were maybe giving cards for a gift for something, that'll be a great idea. Again, you could back the cherry cobbler, which I thought would be really cool, because then you'd have the red and the blue, much more of a contrast between the green. So just let me know which one you think you prefer, but I think it's a really fun card. And then for our inside, we have 2 different ones. So this is before steaming and after. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video today and this very simple card. Again, I will definitely put the person's name who originally came up with this really creative card on the bottom of the, or on the top, I should say, of the YouTube information here. We are running into the very last time of host specials, so there will be a host code there if you would like to support me. They are going to be going away April 15th, I believe it is. And we're going to be working with something new, which is going to be different rewards. I believe it is 10% earned on every order that you personally order, and that starts at $20. So you will use it for the next time, which is going to take a little bit of getting used to, but hopefully it will make sense once we get rolling with it. If you have any questions about anything we used today, or if you'd like to buy any of the supplies in my store, you can click the links. It will take you directly. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave me a comment here on YouTube. I don't get a ton of them, so I do answer each and every one. You can also email at me at rachthestamper@gmail.com, and you can follow me on all things social at Rachthestamper. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new today, and I hope you have a great day.